The VA hospital said I was faking PTSD for pills until they pulled up my SEAL records. The VA had been cracking down on veterans faking PTSD for pills for months, and with my shaking hands and panic sweats, I looked like every other junkie trying to score. I looked so strung out that other veterans moved their kids away from me. Security guards followed me through every hallway, so when the triage nurse looked up at my empty prescription bottle, I knew she thought I was pill seeking. She barely glanced up before her mouth pulled tight at the corners. Her gaze lingered on my trembling fingers wrapped around the prescription bottle, and she leaned back in her chair away from me. Another anxiety medication emergency? Her voice carried across the waiting room, while her hands made exaggerated quotation marks in the air. She didn't reach for the stack of standard forms on her left. Instead, she opened a bottom drawer and pulled out a packet with red borders that read, Pill-Seeking Behavior Assessment. 20 minutes later, the exam room door swung open, and the doctor walked in with deep lines between his eyebrows. He held my paperwork with just his thumb and index finger at the corner. His eyes darted between my medical file on screen and my face. The left side of his mouth lifted as he scrolled through my service records. I've seen plenty of washouts claim PTSD for disability checks. He pushed back from the desk and folded his arms across his white coat. His stare locked onto my shaking hands for several long seconds. With 2 clicks, he minimized my records and pulled up a form labeled Suspicious Claim Report. He typed a few more lines into the fraud report, then pushed his keyboard away to study me. His upper lip curled as he took in my 3-day-old clothes. His chair squeaked as he rolled further from where I sat, shaking. Another addict using the VA as a free fix. His pen pointed at my trembling hands, then moved up to circle the air around my sweating face. He grabbed his prescription pad, but instead of writing medication, he scrawled pill-seeking behavior across it. The letters got bigger and darker with each word. He held it up like evidence before adding it to my file. He slammed my file shut and reached for the phone on his desk. His fingers jabbed at the numbers while he kept one eye on me like I might lunge at him. He covered the receiver with his hand, but I could still hear him asking security to come to exam room 3. Your neighbor should know she's babysitting for an addict. His free hand moved to his computer mouse and clicked through several screens until he found what he wanted. Red text flashed across the monitor. Flag patient, pill seeking. He hit enter with more force than necessary. Then he pulled up another form, and I caught the words 72-hour psychiatric hold at the top. My stomach dropped when I saw the checkbox for report to security clearance board. The 3 beeps brought guards running like I was an escaped animal. They slammed me down so hard my teeth clicked together. My prosthetic ripped off completely, and they kicked it across the room like garbage. Look at this stolen valor trash. The doctor grabbed my hair and lifted my head to spit in my face. Pathetic junkie playing soldier. He wiped his hand on his coat like I was contaminated. The nurse drove her knee between my shoulder blades while preparing the syringe. They held me down like a rabid dog that needed to be put down. The needle went in before I could say, Admiral. The door slammed open mid-injection. Where's the seal you're putting on psychiatric hold? The VA administrator stood there with her phone pressed to her ear. Someone was screaming on the other end. The doctor looked up confused. The pill seeker? He pointed at me on the floor. That's the classified operation survivor testifying to Senate Armed Services tomorrow. Naval Command tracked him here when he didn't show for testimony prep. Her eyes took in everything. Me sedated on the linoleum. My prosthetic thrown in the corner. Security still pinning me down. The doctor's face went from confused to terrified. The administrator dropped beside me checking my pulse. Security guards scrambled backward. The doctor stared at my real service record on screen showing 3 purple hearts and a Navy cross. I didn't know he was actually. The nurse dropped the syringe and pressed herself against the wall. The administrator screamed into her phone about Narcan and federal charges. The doctor slumped mumbling about his medical license while his face went gray. 6 months later, I testified twice. First to Congress about the classified mission, then in federal court about what they did to me. The doctor got 18 months and lost his license. The nurse was banned from healthcare. They treated me like an animal, but they're the ones who ended up in cages.